Hey, it's Lonnie Webb with On Comics, and I have a challenge here for Noel of Noel's Zone and TARDIS Zone, the Irish geek. I have made a batch of chili, and we will get into how that was done. And I am challenging Noel over in Ireland to, since he knows how to cook, and I'm just a redneck cook. I'm challenging Noel to his take on chili. And this is a 2-alarm chili. It is not abusive to the insides so far. And we'll see how that is. I'll actually eat some here in a bit. In the meantime, we are looking for signers up over on Indiegogo for the Temple of Tiamat. This is going to be a slow batch comic, and I'm doing the art, and I really hope you'll go sign up. There is no cost to sign up, but you will make yourself eligible for free trading cards and any other perks that I can come up with. Right now, I'm leaning to dog tags. I don't know if I can do them cheaply or if we have to make them something that's that is a perk level. In any case, please stick around and watch how I made this chili, and we'll look forward to seeing what Noel's answer to it is. And after this is over, we will, we meaning me, I will sit down and eat a batch of this chili and see how it turned out. And we'll see. I told Noel some time ago I was going to make chili, and I think I have to make good on that. So being a good old redneck from Texas, well, I'm actually from Arkansas, way over in the United States, and but rednecks, doesn't matter where we live, we're still rednecks. That is not actually a MAGA hat. Depending on the way that my lens is focused, that says "We the People" or "We the People." That's how it says, and it just happens to be red. But let's be honest, it means the same thing, and a lot more of us go for "We the People" than some of the anti-MAGA people, who are also "We the People" people. Anyway, before I do anything, I need to flavor the pan that I'm going to cook in. So I've got this dirty old pan that I've been cooking sausage and bacon and eggs and several other things in. No need to clean a pan more than you have to, right? So when it comes to cutting things like butter and vegetables and meat, you need some things, like to cut with. Here's one. I've got one on my key ring. That's a decent little cutter thingy. But I don't use that one very often unless no one's watching. And if someone is watching, I use my pocket knife because that gets lots of attention from certain people when I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking. And the only way I ever clean that knife is with WD-40. And can I reach my favorite knife? Yes, I can. We should only use a little knife when handling small things like butter and other stuff. So here's my little knife that I use when I'm just working on some little things. And don't worry, I get chewed out plenty good for that one. But I don't use WD-40 on this knife. No, I use vegetable oil. Go bye-bye. So this is going to be a simple 2-alarm chili. I am going to use a mix because they've got everything into little packets, and I will explain those packets carefully as I add them to the mix. The pieces of cookery that we're going to use are an old pan and a crock pot that I've got over there. So let's get on with this here. We'll turn this up as high as we can go. We'll light it, and then we'll just get it back down to about medium. Get a little bit of regular kitchen knife. You know, there are two kinds of kitchen knives. There's too big and just right. We're going to add us a clove of garlic, but this, of course, is way too solid. So we're going to soften it up a little bit with my softener. So take our clove of garlic. We put it in the garlic smashing tool and take a peek. Here we are. We are squeezing her in there. Yes, we are. Away from the body. It's already got all the hull out of there. Okay. Taking her off the heat, giving her a little bit of swish around there. Should be wearing some goggles. Alright, taking her off the heat. Heat off. We now have a pan that is in the way of being flavored. We're flavoring the pan. Okay. You're probably asking, why in the world would I spend so much effort to flavor a pan when I'm just making chili? Well, I am making a 2-alarm chili, and I'm going to flavor it substantially with a green pepper, cut away from the body. There we go. I should have done that from the top. It'd been a lot easier. My wife prefers that I take out the seeds because they don't contribute anything in her mind to the final product. Seeds right out of it. You can smash that core out of a green pepper just by placing a ring of slices around the core, giving it a good thump. My hands are a little bit shaky today, so I'm going slow. I do things too fast with a knife. Well, we end up discovering some other uses. And while I'm doing this, Noel, if you want to take my video and talk to it or over it or through it, that's fine with me. I would like to hear how a chili is done over there in Ireland. Let's see, did you say you're in Belfast? I can't remember. This chili is going to have a pound of chuck roast that has been cut up already. Fat cut down a bit. See, we're not making a fat chili. We're making a meat chili. So we're taking some of the fat out of it. Health-wise, that works out a lot better for those of us that have health needs. At my age, I have some concerns about sodium and diabetes and nuclear radiation and catfish needles and solar radiation, sand, dirt. Okay, now we get all those pretty juices in there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to dump this in that there lovely pan. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to put a half yellow onion in there. In Texas, we're blessed with yellow onion. Yellow onion is a pretty spiffy product. It is not too hot, nor is it too sweet. You know what I said about cutting away from the body? Yeah. Cut that off of there. Cut that off of there. Let's take a outer layer of that off. Okay. If you're sensitive to onions, this is a good time to have already put the onion in the refrigerator. Get it nice and chilled so it's not spraying little particulate up into your eyes. Because regardless of the onion, it will kick that lovely stuff into your eyes. And if you're in any way sensitive to it, it will burn. Yeah, it's burning mine right now just a little bit. Okay. Noel is a chef, so he makes a much finer cut than I ever will. My wife, she sits and watches Gordon Ramsay and fumes over the right way to hold a knife. So I know everybody but me gets that right. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh man, yeah. That onion's coming out to play. Oh man, I might be a little bit allergic today. So I learned this type of chili way back and perfected it over and over again as a bachelor. Taught my wife how to make it. She usually ignores half of what I say, so there's no telling what the difference is between our different styles of making chili. But when I turn on the camera, she doesn't interfere. She ran off and hid in the other room, doesn't want to be seen. Can't say I blame her. See, I'm actually cutting these onions with my eyes closed. That's the secret. Cut your onion with your eyes closed. All right, let's go take this over here to the flavored pan. Golly. A little bit of a mess there. A whole lot of a mess. If you take the trouble to keep your stovetop clean, you don't have to worry about whether or not what I just did was a mess. Jump back in there with a little heat. So we're now transferring all those flavors currently in the pan. That nice buttery fresh garlic to the pan, from the pan to the veggies, and we'll just let that cool, let that warm up into there a little bit. Oh yeah, you don't have to worry about how big those pieces are, but I do like for them to be no bigger than a bite. Put a little more heat on that. Okay. Now. I would be using a spatula or chopsticks to keep from making damage to my brand new pan, but this is not a brand new pan. This is a much older, roughed up cast iron pan. If it has any kind of coating on it, it's long gone. And for y'all new to cooking, using one implement to clean is pretty handy. On the other hand, using chopsticks is a great way to keep from getting burned no matter what you're cooking. Just you can't hardly cut with a chopstick. Unless you're using a couple of these and calling them chopsticks. Our goal here is to get these onions a little bit of a glaze, or caramelize them down enough where they're just not quite see-through. When you get a little more than see-through, you're burned, you're ruined. There's no point in getting that far, and we're making chili. We're not dancing the special hoo-ha dance. See, that's sweating out nice. Ooh, sweating out nice. All right. This is a meat chili, but I am going to add some ranch-style beans to it because I like a little bit of beans, but this is a special bean. This has got a little bit of a meaty flavor, and it has been soaking in jalapeno peppers for quite a while in the canning process. Now, I mentioned I'm diabetic, so I also like to add a little bit of fiber. To accomplish that, I'm adding some ranch-style black beans. Black beans got a whole lot of fiber, and that counteracts a whole lot of trouble you get into when you are dealing with sugar absorption. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my peppers and onions, and then I'm going to chase that with my beans. Alright. What we've got, we've still got a flavored pan. We've now got a whole bunch of flavor transferred to the crock pot. It doesn't matter if I've got some leftover bits in there because I'm going to throw meat on top of it. Alright, Noel, what we got here is we got our flavored pan, and we're going to throw in, this is a small batch. This is only going to be a 2-pound batch that I'm making for me and my wife. The wife. Yeah. There we go. We need us our weapon of choice. Our weapon of choice. There we go. Over some medium heat. This is some trimmed up chuck roast. And we get us a massive chuck roast every now and then. And there's a big old chuck roast going to do something else. Probably just a little bit more Chinese. So I snitched me a pound out of that. My wife trimmed it up. She's very good at that, by the way. If you got the trimming hands, that's the best addition to your kitchen. Okay. A little bit of salt. Now this is some low sodium salt. And fresh cracked pepper. We aren't really looking to brown the meat. We don't want it cooked. We want some medium on it. You know what I'm saying? Normally at this point, I'm going to be straining the meat with a strainer and running the drippings off. Now this is a pretty lean pan here, so there's not going to be a lot of drippings. What I'll do is I'll spoon this meat into my crock pot. And my wife taught me that going all the trouble to strain that meat and get the fat off, you know, that's a way to do it. But she has a method of letting the fat stand up as the chili slow cooks. And then she'll just spoon that off. Use it for something else. There are things you can do with fat that, you know, you can add fat to a really good lean meat to give it some flavor. And we're going to probably have some kind of lean meat for the holidays coming up here. Thanksgiving's coming up. There could be some prime rib. There could be some, I don't know, some pork loin. Hard to say. And cook that just another few seconds, and then we're going to put it in the pot. Leave the drippings in there, and then we'll put some sage sausage in. That'll give us 2 pounds of meat. Normally I'd follow that up with at least a pound of ground beef or a pound of ground turkey if we're having a big hoo-ha. This is just for me and her, and we will probably put it in the freezer when we're done eating it and let it get mean. And what I mean is, what I'm telling you there is, when you let a chili freeze, it gets mad at you. And man, it will come off just as hot as it can. Alright, let's go over here. Okay. We've now graduated on to a second implement. Hey, it was either a spoon or a strainer. So I figure this will reduce the amount of cleaning that is required later. Another way to really kick up the quality of this chili is to add a pound of a sirloin steak. Sometimes when you go to the grocery store, they'll have some old steak that has been cubed up for chili meat. And maybe they have already trimmed it and it's really, really good and you just got to have it. But in most cases, you might find it a little bit more cost effective to get that steak. Let's shoot a little bit more pepper on there, black pepper, table pepper, it doesn't matter. This is a white pepper, ground up, putting nice flavor on there. And this here is sage sausage. Can't really, there we go, sage sausage. This is from our Kroger down the street. Doesn't matter where you get it, doesn't matter what brand. I go for the cheapest of the day. Probably should have cut away from the body that time. Just saying. Yeah. You could substitute some deer sausage at this point. I don't know that that brats would work into this all right. I'd have to take that advice from someone else. This is actually looking like it might be a little lean. Huh. Didn't expect that. It may soak up all those drippings. Which is fine. We don't mind that one bit. I'm just cleaning out this wrapper where some meat has gotten caught in the pincher. Put this in a plastic tube and then pinch it with a metal clasp. This is not frozen, it's just a big old stiff pound of sage sausage. It's not hot, just got some sage flavor. Sage is not the same as regular. It's not the same as mild. It's a very distinctive flavor. But today we're going to make it into a sausage. I mean into a chili. I can't talk right. That's something doing these YouTube videos has helped me out with. I have a hard time doing stuff with my hands in the first place. And then there's always a hard time. Oh, I think I stuck myself. Well, it bent my knife, so it must have stuck me. But talking and doing stuff at the same time, and talking and doing stuff on these YouTube hooter dooters. That's all right, cause why not, right? I really did bend that knife. Look at that. A lot of bachelors learn to cook out of necessity. Well, I'm not a bachelor these days, but I still got the nasty old skin of somebody who's been handling hot stuff way too much. We haven't talked about any Doctor Who. That's pretty much the thing that Noel and I have had in common before I found out that he was in the cooking profession. I left out of the cooking profession and into the IT profession way back when. Back when there were bits. You know, there was a time when there were bits before there were bytes. Okay, I believe we are done. Got used with this part. Turn that off. All right. Down right there. And using our secondary implement here, I'm going to try to leave some of this fat behind. I don't need extra fat in the chili. Not in this chili. Oh, here, join the party. There we go. All that fat we don't need for this. Let us add our ranch style beans, and this is a meat chili. You don't put beans in meat chili. I got some health needs that I'm offsetting by adding some ranch style beans. Ranch style is like a baked bean, but it's got some additives, some natural additives, some things like meat that just make it a better thing. And it was canned with jalapenos. All right, we'll get that in there. And my spoon. When my wife sees how much damage I have done to the kitchen, oh, the real show will begin. Yes, sirree. I'm not much of a cook, but I can stay alive. I guess that's might mean that I'm also not much of a husband, but I can stay alive. I think I can still outrun her. And here are our black beans, also ranch style, but I'm not sure if that means a whole bunch as far as brands go. I am not a doctor. I'm not giving you advice at all. I'm telling you what I do. We could conceivably up this party with another can of ranch style and another can of black beans, or another can of, what could we add? We could add just a can of pinto beans. You can go to the trouble to measure all this stuff out. Or you can go grab Wickes Fowler's box. I'm not endorsing them, it's just the one that's here at every Walmart I've ever been to. And everything is already measured out. I'm going to save the masa flour for last. I'm going to call that about 2 handfuls of chili pepper in their mix. Works for me. 2 whopping tablespoons of chili pepper. We got some dried up onion and garlic. If I had another one handy, I think I would just put in a fresh garlic clove. Squeeze that sucker in there. And let's see, we got some, what was that? That was a half tablespoon of onion and garlic. Dried onion, dried garlic. And this is going to be about a half tablespoon of cumin and oregano. And we're going to top this off with a little bit of paprika. Oh, come on, there we go. Now we got us 8 ounces of tomato sauce. Okay. I have to cut that open. Yeah, I really don't like these little hooter-dooters anymore. Got a buck knife that I used to open cans with. Those cans weren't real reusable after that, but by golly, it's a lot better than these flimsy can openers. I'm not a fan. Just give her a little bit of a spin through there. Spiral, that's a spiral. That's a spiral pour. Spiral pour. Okay. We shall plug that in. Try not to hurt myself badly. Now I'm going to add 8 more ounces of water. I'm not sure we really need it because there's a lot of moisture in there this time. My big old spoon. We're going to gear this up to high on the crock pot. And I'm just going to get to stirring. There's going to be a bunch of dry stuff on the edges of your crock pot bowl. Go ahead and scrape that down. That's not going to do you any good if it makes a crust. Like that right there is not going to do any good. I will show you something that I was taught in my 20s, maybe early 30s. When you make a circle around a pot with your spoon, you haven't done anything except just kind of rotate everything. Bring your spoon down through and make a J, and then circle it around. That is actually mixing things when you're doing that. You can make that J any old place you want. But you want to bring your spoon down through the middle. Bring it all the way around. Now I'm going to bet that's pretty well mixed up. It is way undercooked to eat. The way I like to do this, I'm going to set aside this masa flour and the red pepper right there. That's one thing I like about getting that mix. It's all right there. I don't have to worry about getting a fresh package of masa flour. And if you don't have masa flour, can you use cornstarch? If you don't have that, what can you mix? It's just a lot easier when somebody else does the figuring for you. I'll put the list of ingredients proper in the Hooter Dooter and then the description. Let's see. What I will do is I will let this come up on high, and when it comes up to a boil, I'm going to add that masa flour and the red pepper. I guess I can go ahead and add the red pepper, really. It's not going to hurt anything. But the masa flour needs to be the last thing that happens before you start simmering it. A good chili needs to simmer for a couple of days. Now I'll tell you a trick on that. Yes, cut away from the body. Because it'll bend your knife right there if you cut yourself, and it doesn't cut your own flesh. Yeah, be careful with that. That red pepper goes up your nose. I'm suspecting they mix a little something else in there. This has taken on a new color recently. There. This is the masa flour. We're saving it for last. And what we will do is we will add that masa flour to a 1/4 cup of warm water and then stir it in to act as a thickening agent. I gotta get something to drink. I'm starting to sound like Colin Baker. Okay. Now, when we are done adding the masa flour, we add the masa flour, we stir it up, we let it get good and bubbly. Then we get it to simmer. Come up here and join me here. Hi. We'll get it to simmer, and we'll simmer it all day long, and then at night, we'll let it cool off. Depending on the temperature outside, we'll put it out in the garage, let it slowly cool down to cold. And then we'll put it right back in the crock pot in the morning, let it warm up to a simmer. And do that for 2 or 3 days. That breaks down the meat, that breaks down the structure of the meat, and gives you a very, very tender, almost buttery, yet flaming hot chili. With this chili setup, if you want to get false alarm, just leave out the red pepper and your discretion on the chili pepper. If you ask me though, if you leave out the chili pepper, I'm not sure you're eating chili. All right, I will be back when we do the masa flour. Okay, we just got to the point that we're bubbling. Let's shake some of that moisture back in there. My wife came in here and she paid me the best compliment a man in the kitchen can ever get. Okay, second best. She said that the house smelled great. And she congratulated me for making chili that smells good and for not having burned the kitchen down. That's pretty good, compliment, all things considered. Oh, hey, what do you think of my Tom Baker t-shirt? I got that off of T-Fury. Tom Baker driving a TARDIS Blue Bessie. I'm liking it. Had it for a while, I just didn't think to mention it to anybody. I think that was T-Fury. And we got a bunch of that stuff I mentioned in the wet stuff that dries out, becomes dry crud. We don't need any crust on the bowl. All right, that's pretty. So what we're going to do now, let's see, a 1/4 cup would be about 4 ounces, if my math is right. It rarely is. Okay, that's a little bit of warm water in my little cup. Whoa! She's going to be mad at me. I got to clean that up. Oh, wait. Here, take that. Here, take that. You need it more than I do. Here, take it. Okay. Pour that in there. Should use a fork, but I don't want to mess up another implement for this. It will be an achievement if this here batch of chili makes it through the night, let alone through tomorrow. And it's not even going to be good for another, let's see, tomorrow's Friday. It would be a good batch of chili on Saturday or definitely Sunday. You can see that, but we are now getting it to thickened. Just a little bit of masa flour gets that job done. Does a little bit better than plain old flour or cornstarch. I don't really know what it is. It may actually be cornstarch. Alright, I'm now going to set the dial to warm. I'm going to leave it on warm. Tonight when I go to bed, I'm going to take it off and let it cool down. Tomorrow when I get up, I'm going to let it warm all day long. Then I'm going to turn it off at night. I'm going to go to bed. And then the next day, this is fair game for eating. The warm switch is supposed to keep it at a maintained level throughout the course of the day. We'll see how that really works. Of course, Every crock pot's a little bit different. And this one I think will be just fine in the end. This one has served me well for the past few years. Now, Noah, you make a video when you get a chance. Tell me how you would have made this bowl or this batch of chili different, and tell me how I could have made mine better. I might sneak in a shot of some wild chowing down going on. Being a 2-alarm only, I'm just going to hit this with some saltine crackers, maybe a little bit of cheese, but I'm going to stop there. We get beyond 2-alarm, well, then that's a whole different kind of recipe, isn't it? We'll talk about that some other time. I'm looking forward to what y'all do over in Ireland. And as far as Texas goes, this is a good batch of chili with the dietary addition of some black beans, just for people who need it. We'll talk to y'all later. Okay, so this chili has been on all day yesterday. It has sat out in the garage last night because it's that cool. Put back on this morning. We now have some warm hot chili. Let's put some in there. Let's check the temperature. Yeah, that's a decent temperature. Should have used the other stirring implement. Oh yeah. Now on the quest of would I watch this bowl of chili, or would I watch Jodie Whittaker as Doctor Who? Well, as one might say, I think I would rather spend more time with the chili. Now, I am quite sure that what you're about to see will in fact trigger. Oh, my wife's here. Hey baby, you want to come join me? No. Nope. This might trigger some people, so I want to warn. This is a trigger warning that. Oh, yep. There's a trigger warning. So how about we open some saltines the proper way. Cut away from the body. Love the sound of a good sharp knife cutting across things. Maybe she did eat the chili already. So this is a 2-alarm chili. It's not supposed to injure you or send you immediately to the bathroom. Trigger warning. Oh my. Can't hardly get a bag of crackers, but you can make them much, much tougher, I guess. Maybe this is a cracker that didn't actually come from China. Alright. Just 2-alarm chili. No cheese, no onions, no pickles, no hot sauce. And here we go. Moment of truth. This is turning out pretty good. Nobody else is eating out of this bowl, so it's okay if I double dip, right? Tomorrow, this is going to be good. I mean, real good. This is not a mature chili yet, but it is still very, very, very edible. And I'd take this over about anything else. You serve up Wolf brand chili, I don't need it. This is going to do the job. Throw down a hot dog. If I have a spoonful of this left over, this can go on a hot dog. Make it a manly hot dog. Noel, let's see what you got. I haven't eaten yet. I did go fishing this morning, but I have not eaten yet. Well, I guess I'm going to have to button this up because my wife is saying things that are probably top secret for her company. And, I mean, they actually are. So, y'all be good, and I will see you later. Noel, let's see what Irish take on this chili can give us. Meantime, we have a Doctor Who coming up. And I will be reviewing some Doctor Who DVDs, Blu-rays. And I will be reviewing some comics. Y'all be good, and run over to Indiegogo, search for Temple of Tiamat, and put in your email address for a quick sign up. Doesn't cost you anything, and you will get a perk out of it, a freebie. Trust me on this. I'll talk to y'all when I can.